Breakout session number 57. This one I'm calling Stump the Teacher. Before I get started, I'd like to say hey to all the Guitar League members around the country that might be watching. And anybody that might be watching today, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell, and if you like it, also hit the little like button, and that all helps. Any of the materials I have today will be down in the description. Okay, so I was calling this Stump the Teacher. So I was watching one of my favorite guitar players on YouTube, Guthrie Trapp, and he was playing a song with a progression of E7, A7, D7, and G or G7. And that whole thing sent me down a rabbit hole. Because first let me ask you, what key do you think that song is in? Well, if you said E, you're wrong, okay? That would have been my first guess too, because it starts with an E. And then, you know, sometimes songs start on the 5 chord, so that would mean it was in the key of A if it started on E, but that's not it either. So Guthrie said he was just noodling around, and Guthrie said he was in the key of G. And I kind of recognized the progression, and I recognized the tempo and the song and everything. So I thought, you know, I searched all over the place to try to find that song that he was noodling around on. He didn't say what it was, but I found it, and it was right or wrong. You know, it was an old Bob Wills Western swing thing. It was written by a guy named, by Arthur Sizemore back in the 20s. And it's been covered by George Strait. It's been covered by a lot of people. And I found the original sheet music on that car, and on that song. And I'm going to put that up there, first page of it, and you'll see there's 1 sharp there, which means it's in the key of G. So why is that? Well, the short answer is it's secondary dominant chords. And I did a whole video on secondary dominant chords. It was Breakout session number 10. I'll link that to this to explain what that's all about. But basically, the E7 is the 5th of A. The A7 is the 5th of D. The D7 is the 5th of G. And in this case, it's not so much where it starts, the song, it's where it resolves to. So if you're trying to figure out sometimes a song by ear, you know, and you're playing along with it, and you go, oh, the first chord's an E, so it's an E, and then all of a sudden you start playing, you know, like a scale, and it doesn't work. So what I'm recommending here today is that you kind of listen to the whole progression and see where that progression ends and try to figure out what chord that is, and very well may be the key that you're trying to figure out. So that's all today. It was like a Stump the Teacher. I was stumped with that one, trying to figure out how he said it was in the key of G. It didn't make any sense. None of those, you know, chords actually work right in the key of G. Okay, so today, out of this hole, I went down this Western swing rabbit hole. I don't know a lot about it, but I know it's a difficult genre because it's like jazz. There's a lot of chord changes in it. Almost every beat is almost a chord change, and it's sometimes the same chord with a different voicing, you know, so that you get those bass lines and stuff. So I'm working on that myself. But I wanted to give you a bonus today. I want to give you 1 chord shape that's used a lot in Western swing. And this shape, once you master this, it's one of those movable shapes, so you can play it in any key. Okay, so I'm going to teach it to you in G today. And you're going to have the chord chart down in the description. Okay, so what we're doing here is we are placing our middle finger on the 3rd fret top string, the big fat one, so that's a G note, and then we're placing our pointer finger on the 2nd fret D string, and then we're muting the A string in between. We're just going to let our middle finger touch that A string. Here, let me give you a little bit of volume. So we got the G, a mute, we got a E note. Now we have our finger, we have our pinky finger on the 4th fret G string, which is a B note, and we have our ring finger on the 3rd fret B string, which is a D note. And we're muting the bottom string and the A string. Okay? So that, you could, if you moved it up 2 frets, you'd be in A. So that's a G6, and 6 chords are used a lot in this Western swing, as you will find out. Okay? The other thing about, if you learn, this is a difficult because you don't have a lot of dexterity in your ring finger and your pinky. But if you could get used to doing that, then you'll see that if you change your other fingers, if you move your index finger to the G note on the top string, the fat string, you mute the A, and you now play the D string on the 3rd fret, you've got a G7. So you can go between the G6 and the G7 by that simple move, and you're not moving your bottom 2 fingers. So you need to practice. It takes a little practice to get used to that fingering. But once you get it, you know, you can move it anywhere. That would be like a G6. I taught you a while ago this 6 shape. And that sounds really good in Western swing. You get a lot of that stuff. 6s and 9s they use a lot in Western swing. Okay, so this is not a Western swing lesson. It was just a short one on 2 things. One, when you're trying to figure out what key something's in by ear, don't always rely on the first chord. It may be the last chord where it's resolving to might be the key to the key. And then the other thing is I wanted to give you that chord shape, which once you get that chord shape down, it opens up a whole new world of chords for you all over the fretboard with that same shape. So I hope this helped today. It's not a beginning class because, you know, beginners aren't like trying to figure out songs by ear necessarily, okay? But this is how you become an intermediate, by learning these things. Okay, so I hope that you got something out of that today. It's a short one, and we're going to see you in the next video, and be safe out there. And don't forget to subscribe. Talk to you later.